Hello, and welcome to our series, Conversations on Zionism, Reclaiming the Narrative. I'm Russell Robinson, Chief Executive Officer of Jewish National Fund USA. The time has come to be the voice of what Zionism really is. We're exposing the beautiful and diverse facets and facts of Zionism. Join me on this journey, together with Conversations on Zionism, Reclaiming the Narrative. This is Zionism. With me today is my dear friend Mark Wilf, president of the Minnesota Vikings and a major developer, and most recently elected chairman of the board of the Jewish Agency. Mark has a deep family history of involvement on local, national, and global levels, ensuring the welfare and vitality of our Jewish community. He is the son of Holocaust survivors and has drawn upon his parents' experiences to become an unwavering advocate for the needs of our Jewish people, wherever they may be. Please welcome the chairman of the board of the Jewish Agency, Mark Wilf. So I want to welcome you, Mark, to our ZTV, to our Zionist studios. For you, it's something about a person who says, Am Yisrael Chai is the mantra of your Jewish life, of how you live. And you got an unbelievable DNA. So I want you to talk about your family's DNA first.
Well, first, thanks for having me on, and kol hakavod for all your work for the Jewish people and the community, and for introducing everyone to all the different facets of Jewish people, which is something, as you know, I'm passionate about. For myself, on a personal level, my parents and grandparents, all born in Poland, Holocaust survivors. My father was born in Yaroslav, Poland, my mother in Lviv, Poland, which is now Ukraine. And they grew up, they were not concentration camps, but my father was in a Siberian labor camp during the war. My mother, along with her brother, my uncle, and my grandmother and grandfather were in the Lvov ghetto. They escaped the ghetto and they had Christian papers and worked on a Polish farm. And my grandfather was hidden under the floorboards of a barn for nearly 2 years. And every day was horrific and horrible. And yet they survived. Many family members, of course, perished. And when you say DNA, I was blessed to be born in the United States, and my parents emigrated in 1950 to Birmingham, Alabama. The Jewish community sponsored them there, and then eventually they made their way to the New York, New Jersey area. But when you say DNA and Zionism, I knew from a very early age, and it's in our blood, that had there been a state of Israel in those days, the world would have looked very different for them. And while things were hopeless for them now, we have a lot of hope for the Jewish people now, thanks to the state of Israel.
So, Mark, that's an interesting part that I think is for our audience fascinating. You have a great DNA, and you have a family that was always engaged. When was your first trip to Israel, and what was that feeling? You're in this family, but you just made your first trip to Israel. What was that feeling to you?
Well, you know, it is interesting because as much as you're passed down and told about different things, there's an experience you have to live for yourself. For me, I was introduced to visiting Israel at a very young age. At the age of 12, right before Bar Mitzvah, I went to Israel, and that was a time when you got off the plane and the ride to Tel Aviv was filled with orange groves, not high-tech office buildings. So it was a very different time, but I did remember, like I do now, a sense of being home, a place where, as a Jewish person, I was fortunate to have a Jewish education growing up, and the Hebrew I learned and the people that I learned was really much coming to life even at that age. And I was exposed to great role models. My mother and father are so involved in the community, and my father and uncle from Poland days, so involved in Zionism. They had summer camps talking about Israel, and we're in the real estate business. And my father and uncle built in the state of Israel, and we still build in the state of Israel today. So that trip when I was 12, my father was finishing our first project in Israel, which still stands today, the Renaissance Hotel in Tel Aviv. So that was part of it, but also just, again, that feeling of, okay, we have a place that will look out for us as Jewish people and a place where we can go and feel comfortable.
So it's 2022. There's a lot of conversation. The reason we're doing these shows as well is to try to show the beauty of Zionism, the future of Zionism. How come it's important? Why do you think today, 2022, you said orange groves, not high tech. Why is Israel important for our connection today or in the future?
Connecting to Israel really cultivates a sense of peoplehood, a sense of togetherness for all the world's Jewry. And, you know, you may be aware, I'm currently taking on the position as the chair of the Jewish Agency for Israel. And in addition to working with collaboratively with all the organizations like JNF around the world, Israel helps promote that sense of peoplehood, of identity, of connection. So when we're in diaspora, whether it's in America, in France, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Ethiopia, that everyone can feel there's a sense that there's a centrality, there's a connection to a chain that dates back thousands of years. Our Torah values, our Jewish peoplehood, unbreakable bond goes all the way back there, and Israel is the embodiment of that. And connecting to Israel is such a central part of our Jewish story. So
I was going to get to the Jewish Agency, but I'm going to take the opportunity now first to congratulate you as that chairman of the Jewish Agency for Israel. What do you see some of the challenges that we have in our Jewish world for the next 5 years that you're going to be the chair?
Well, of course, we have right away all the emergent situations, and that goes to Ukraine, to Russia, to Ethiopia, and Jews in need and communities that are challenged, and Israel being a welcoming homeland for those people. So Aliyah is, of course, very important. Jewish people, like I said, and that could be shlichim or partnerships between Israel and diaspora communities. And that's something that I know the Jewish Agency and syncs very well with something that's very important to me, that we in the diaspora as well as in Israel, all of us as Jewish people need to understand each other better. I call it promoting Jewish peoplehood literacy. And so whether it's connecting communities or having Israeli young people learn about us and vice versa, that gives us the best chance to have a stronger Jewish future. And that's why I do it for my 4 adult children and for all our future generations, is to make sure that happens. And also to have a strong civil society in Israel. That's something super important. And not just the Jewish Agency, but I know JNF and others have an important role in that as well. So there's a lot of organizational alphabet soup, but we have to keep in mind the overarching connection of Israel and the importance of peoplehood.
One of the things that we've had on this show is people from Israel, from the United States. We talked about and from all over the world, as a matter of fact, we talked about that communication. Does the people of Israel know the American Jewish community? Do we really know the people of Israel? And building that conversation, we find it to be such an important piece. And I know that the Jewish Agency, you as the former national chairman of the federation system, all of us think it's so important. What are some things that we should be doing collectively to building those pathways to those communications?
Well, I think we need to just have more experiential opportunities. And I know COVID put a dent in that. but certainly the trips to Israel are very important for young people to become connected. We have to maintain the dialogue. I mentioned the Shlichim program, where Israeli trained people go to colleges and universities, for instance, across North America. And, not just to combat anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, but to cultivate that Israeli diaspora positive connections. So that's how you build the bridges. That's how you strengthen a foundation to go forward. And I think we all have a responsibility, like it says. We can't necessarily complete the work, but we have to keep it moving forward and positive.
That's the great slogan. And I one of the things that we're focused on and want to talk about to everybody is the teenage space. That there was a statistic that 25 years ago, 19,000 teenagers from the United States per year were going to Israel on programs of 7 weeks or more. And the year before COVID, that was already down to 3,000. And, all of us are looking at, the college space, it's important. It's a battleground, but we need to do something in those teenage space. What is some thoughts that you may have in that area?
Well, first, I want to just take a small exception to some of the numbers, because I know the year before the pandemic, I know just the Mossad program alone had nearly 5,000 people go. So yes, every generation we have to worry. We have to be always concerned about young people going, but young people are going. Of course, the pandemic made a dent. I was just in Israel last week. We had an event with nearly 5,000 high school young people from just the United States. So there is that energy. Young people want to feel connected to something greater than themselves. We have to help make it happen. And if it can't happen that way, there are other ways to do it. I mentioned before about the Shlichim coming to summer camps, to schools in America. Shinshinim program, that's high school graduates. They delay their IDF mandatory service, and they serve global Jewish communities for up to 10 months. And the number of just Shinshinim alone in the Jewish world has quadrupled in less than a decade. So there is a thirst for connection, for helping make a difference. And young people know they're inheriting a world with a lot of issues. So again, maybe it's my background. I see my parents with what they went through, and grandparents, they always had a glass half full, despite all the horrors they witnessed and saw. Because no matter what, we can say today, no matter how it compares to yesterday or the week before, 80 years ago, there was no state of Israel. My parents were refugees with nowhere to go. I'll give you an example. I was privileged a couple months ago, after the war started in Ukraine, to go to Poland. I went to a small village, and I saw thousands of refugees streaming in. And my father's hometown of Yaroslav was about 5 miles away, a 10-minute drive. And to think that my parents 80 years ago were refugees, no state of Israel, no one in the world cared one whit about anybody in the Jewish community. And here it was today. I was in this refugee camp. As they were coming across, there was all kinds of tents from all kinds of global organizations. And the first tent you saw coming across the border was an Israeli organization, giving them food, giving them cots to rest. So you saw on that Polish soil the Magen David of Israel on that flag. And when I saw that, how can you not be optimistic?
I'm Zoe, and I'm from Dream Israel, an incredible teen travel initiative at Jewish National Fund USA. Let me tell you what Dream Israel is. Through this initiative, any high school student can receive a grant of up to $7,500 to put towards their study abroad program in Israel with one of Jewish National Fund USA's academic partners. How do you earn this grant? All you need to do is fundraise for a Jewish National Fund USA philanthropic project in Israel.
Without this Dream Israel grant, I would not be able to be here in Israel.
Thank you, Dream Israel.
Thank you, Dream Israel.
Thank you, Dream Israel, for making my dreams come true.
Take the trip of your dreams with Dream Israel and Jewish National Fund USA.
You're a developer. You're owner of the Minnesota Vikings, so I won't even ask you who's going to win the Super Bowl. But when you stand up on a podium and take a leadership position, it's a tough thing. It's lonely. It's climbing ladders that people are throwing darts at and want to knock you down, and you come down two rungs and you got to go back up. Is it worth it? Should people aspire to be leaders in the Jewish community, and why?
Absolutely. And on a personal level, a lot of our philanthropy invests in leadership. And I have to tell you, I'm a bit selfish when it comes to taking on leadership. I get as much energy from that as just about anything. Because like I just mentioned, when you go and have the privilege to see 5,000 high school teenagers gathering in Israel, that gives hope to all of us. And when you see a state of Israel that stands up in a principled way and how they handle being in a very tough neighborhood and working with their neighbors the best that they can, and the high-minded way that the Israeli people deal with it. Those are things we have to be proud of. And I'm certainly very proud of it. And I'm very honored and privileged to be in this role. And our number one job as leaders is to make sure we get replaced by better and stronger leaders. And that's what I work towards every day. I was privileged to be in the National Leadership Cabinet, as I believe you might have been as well, a federation system. And I know there's all kinds of great leadership programs out there. And I encourage anyone who's busy, starting a career, starting a family, or just coming out of school. I know it's difficult to take the time, but do the best you can to do one more thing and get on that path to leadership, to involvement, to commitment, because it's very fulfilling and it's very important.
And I think that those are the messages that we have to keep telling. The optimistic message, the message of leadership, how you could take risk. You could be, in business, it's a risk that you take in all sorts of ways, but you do it. And so first off, thank you from all of the Jewish community. And also, Mark, so I want you to tell a young person today who's watching the show why the Israel, not just for what it wasn't to your parents, but what it could be to us in the future. What do you see it?
I see the state of Israel as really an Or L'Goyim. That is a principle in our tradition that I think on the global stage, Israel represents a light into the nations. So I tell young people, when you go to Israel or any connection you can make, when you go there and you interact with other people and learn about your own personal history, learn how you have some connection to the state of Israel, of course, from thousands of years ago, but even today, helping build something in whatever way you can, whether it's volunteering to do something in the state of Israel, or to give somehow to the state of Israel, or to give or to help Israelis learn more about us in diaspora. So I just urge, again, young people everyone should get involved, but particularly young people, because this is a great legacy. Jewish peoplehood, our Torah values, and to be blessed in a time over thousands of years to have what some people call a third temple stage. I would just call it, we're in a statehood of Israel, which is a tremendous boost to our people and should all give us strength and inspiration.
Well, Mark, I got to tell you, I want to thank you first for being on ZTV. I want to thank you for your new role as the chairman of the Jewish Agency. And I want to just let our viewers think about the story of a 12-year-old who went to Israel, sees his father building. And I don't know if you have any new construction projects happening in Israel, but I know this, Mark. You are building Israel, and you're building our Jewish people and making it stronger every day. And I just want to thank you. And any words that you would like to leave us about Israel, Zionism in the future, I'd love to have it.
Well, I really have latched on into my role here with the expression "Am Yisrael Chai," which is, of course, a statement we all know well. But it really is true. When we say long live the people of Israel, the nation of Israel, it's so multifaceted in those three words. It's about the state of Israel, it's about Jewish people, and it's about each individual. And those of you who are watching as well, particularly young people, it's part of a chain that's thousands of years, and God willing will last for thousands of years more, where we can connect, live our lives in a very menschlichkeit way with Torah values, and connect and lead the kind of principled life and life that can be an example to others via this wonderful connection. And the state of Israel really is something we should be proud of, to call not just our homeland, but our inspiration. And I just applaud you, Russ, for having this show and really pointing out all the different facets, which I find fascinating and inspiring on my own, to learn all the different ways people connect to Israel and how it inspires so many people in so many different ways. Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai. Mark Wilf, thank you very much for being on ZTV on the Zionist Studios, and good luck as the chairman of the Jewish Agency for Israel.
Thank you so much.
To watch this and all of our past episodes, go to ZTV, our Zionism Studios YouTube page, and subscribe to get notifications.